I'm Nick Lewis. This is Raw Rebellion. And I'm here with Tricia and Todd Baker. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Now, Tricia and Todd are on a 100-day juice fasting journey, and we're going to learn all about everything that they've been going through. And it's some pretty fascinating stuff. I've been following them on Instagram, and I actually first found Tricia's YouTube channel, Juicing Momma, when she was on day 33, I believe. And
yeah.
They have some incredible transformation stories too. So why don't you guys get started? Tell us why 100-day juice fast.
Okay, so how far do we go back? So basically, we watched the documentary by Joe Cross many years ago. So we were already familiar. Sorry, we're outside. We were already familiar with juicing from that documentary, which we thought was awesome, but didn't think that it would really be possible. Just the fact of having a bunch of kids. We have 7 kids, and just where we were in our life, like it just didn't seem like it was a practical thing that we could do. And then Todd has always encouraged me because I have a ton of autoimmune problems. Just so many. Like I have hypothyroidism since the age of 9. I'm 43, almost 44. So for 34 years, I've been on medication, Synthroid. I've gone to numerous holistic doctors. Nobody would take me off of the medication because my numbers always came out in the range. So because they were in the range, nobody wanted to take me off of the medication. But it was frustrating because I know that medication is not good to be on my whole life, and I don't want to be on something my whole life. But it was just something that I had just come to realize that was just how it was going to be, because obviously after lots of money going to these doctors, nothing was going to change. So accepted that. But as time went on, I developed more autoimmune problems, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I've had multiple miscarriages because of that. I've had dermographism, which was really, hilarious when I saw that documentary, because that was the same thing he was suffering with when he did the juice fast. And so that's why it was appealing to me at that time, because I actually was going through that then.
I can relate.
I had what was called I had chronic urticaria, but I had where I could write my name with my nail on my arm, and then a hive would come up, and it would say the perfect, whatever it is I put on, it looked like a tattoo on me. It would last for like 30 minutes. I was that inflamed. So I didn't know what to do. And I kept going to doctors for that too. And they just tried all this medication, steroids, nothing was working. Finally, I went to actually an acupuncturist who said, honey, you're severely allergic to gluten. And I said, there's no way, because I don't get the stomach issues that my mother, who has celiac, does. And she said, no, it doesn't matter. For you, it's coming out in your skin. You're having the skin issue. So at that point, which was 5 years ago, I got off of gluten, and sure enough, within 1 week, my body started to clear up of that. And if I start eating the gluten after a while, it would start to pop up. So I just made that decision to eliminate that from my diet back then. So time went on, and this summer, Todd and I had a difficult situation where we had to move pretty quickly. And so we ended up buying a 36-foot travel trailer and moving 6 of our 7 kids. Our oldest son is in college, and we moved into this travel trailer. So
close-knit quarters.
Close-knit. It was a little rough at first, just adjusting to our financial change and just everything that was happening with our situation at that time. And so we just resorted to quick food. And so
we were eating out of convenience, and strictly out of convenience.
Out of convenience, really bad choices. But it was literally like survival mode, just getting by. So lots of fast food. I gave up on, I said, you know what, I'm not going to worry about the gluten thing. I haven't had a problem in such a long time. And I wasn't having a problem because I wasn't eating it. But as soon as I started to introduce it back into my body, I started feeling super sluggish, more so than I already was. And just sluggish and just tired and very fatigued. I wasn't feeling well. I didn't even care that I was putting on weight. I didn't know how much weight I was gaining. I just was really dipping into depression, and I just wasn't feeling myself at all. So one day I was on this Juicing for Health group on Facebook, which I don't even know why I was in that group other than maybe I had joined it like years ago or something. And there was this woman.
I'm sorry.
Her name on Facebook.
I just want to know. Yeah, you said you don't know why you were on it, but something had you had heard about juicing in the past at some point, correct?
Right, exactly. So because I had heard about it, I think at that time maybe I had started to, you know, join a group or something and was curious. But at that point, so I saw this woman, and her name is on Facebook is Jennifer Dawn Hewitt. She actually is on Instagram too. And she was going through a 100-day juice feast herself. She ended up going further and she did 150 days. But when I saw her transformation, it really was mind-boggling. Like I was like, how in the world did this happen? Because this woman had all these autoimmune problems too, and she was healing of all these problems. And so I'm looking at her, and then one day she decided to post her before picture, and I was just blown away because honestly, I looked at this picture and I was like, okay, this looks like me right now. Like she was bloated and inflamed, and she looked miserable. And I just thought, okay, something's up with this. And so I actually told Todd, I said, figure out a way to do it. I was worried about how we were going to do it financially. And Todd said, you know what? Like, your health is worth it. So whatever we have to do to make this happen, we're going to do it. So just get that out of your mind about like the price, about how expensive it's going to be, and let's just do it. So we actually had a Breville juicer.
Yeah, we had a centrifuge. We had bought, well, yeah, we bought it a few years prior because we did dabble with juicing on and off over the years, but we never did it consistently. But we did have a decent juicer, but it wasn't the one we really wanted. But
we really didn't even know what we wanted because we really didn't have much knowledge with juicing other than
I knew that it wasn't good for greens, that's for sure, because just the stuff I tried in the past. So
yeah. So the first few days we just used the Breville. Our greens were just not coming out right.
It was just wasting them basically.
Yeah, and so and I was familiar with juicing from the Gerson therapy. So I should say that because Todd had cancer. He had colon cancer. Has it been 5 years now?
6 years.
6 years now. And he really didn't want to have any like conventional treatment for that. So he was already researching alternative methods.
Prior to that, actually.
Prior to that.
I was already in tune to the Gerson therapy, ironically, years before I got cancer. And I got cancer.
And then he got cancer, and then it was a decision of whether or not he should have surgery. But it was like to the point where we were worried. I was worried in hindsight. So, but he did say, he said, I'm not going to do chemotherapy and I'm not going to do radiation. And I agreed to that. I said, okay, if you have like the resection of the colon surgery, we'll just go with that. And so, but they didn't end up recommending it anyways because they said they were able to get it all out. But you did juice during that time.
I did 3 weeks. I had 3 week lead time up to the surgery from the time I found out to the time I had the surgery. And I immediately started juicing and basically did the Gerson therapy quite a bit. Ate the diet very similar, took some of the supplements, but I was juicing hardcore and did, everybody was worried because I peeled off some weight pretty quick. And went down. I did go down to 169. Which was the lightest I'd been in years.
And they thought he was losing the weight because of the cancer. But
from what weight were you at?
I probably went from the mid 180s like I was prior to starting this round. Was probably gravitating around 185, 186, and dropped down to 169 pretty quick. So I think if I remember correctly, I lost somewhere in the vicinity of 17 or maybe 19 pounds in just under 3 weeks.
And how tall are you?
I'm about 5'10" and a half, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. So then saw Jennifer Dawn. Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanna dive into that Gerson. Right.
Gerson. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so what did that diet look like?
But typically that diet is, they recommend, they do if you're on the Gerson therapy doing a healing protocol for a chronic disease,
like
cancer or diabetes or anything along that, you know, basically if you're going through the real treatment, it's I think their therapy is 13 10-ounce juices a day, which is basically
every
you know, it's
hour.
basically a 10-ounce juice an hour. And then they do some small raw meals, typically like a salad, no oils, no salt. They do eat they will eat a baked potato, but not dressed with any oils or butters or anything. No processed foods.
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal, you know, they recommend oatmeal, but obviously not sweetened up. They don't, there's some certain vegetables that they don't recommend you juice, like I think cucumbers is one of them on the list, and I can't remember all of them, but they're just because there's a little bit more natural sodium or salt possibly, and they're not a fan of salt. They recommend cold pressed flaxseed oil. You're actually supposed to take it straight. You don't cook anything. It's the only oil that they recommend, and you're supposed to actually take it. You can use it in your salad dressing as a base if you want to, or drink some. I don't remember what the quantity is. And then there's a number of supplements, vitamin supplements, and it's somewhat extensive. I can't remember.
But another big component to the Gerson
and some other things.
Another big component to the Gerson therapy are coffee enemas.
Coffee enemas.
So that's when I first learned about coffee enemas, because it really struck with me that she emphasized, well, Charlotte Gerson is the daughter of Dr. Max Gerson, who is now passed away, Dr. Max Gerson, but Charlotte Gerson has carried on. And they actually have 2 locations, one in Mexico and one in Europe, where
in Belgium or something like that.
Where you can go and actually stay to have treatment. Otherwise, they have a center in California, San Diego area. We can go to get information and that sort of thing. But anyhow, she really emphasized the coffee enemas, because what she said was—
They do a lot. They do like 4 or 5 a day if you're being treated.
Because what she says is that you're putting in to your body such a mass amount of juice at once.
Nutrients that it's coming out of your muscles and tissues at a rapid rate.
At a rapid rate.
And into your bloodstream.
And then the liver needs to, wants to detox, okay? So what happens is when you use the coffee enema, it strikes the hemorrhoidal vein, and it carries that, it goes straight, the caffeine is such a high concentrate, it goes straight to the liver, and it helps produce glutathione.
Yep, it makes the liver overproduce glutathione, which is a natural blood detoxification agent.
Which normally, I think fiber would be helping us produce, right? I'm not positive about that, but I have heard that another reason it's necessary on the juice fast is because we don't have the fiber that helps with detoxifying the liver.
Right. But I still think it's because it's such a mass amount, and we just can't keep up. And I know for a fact that I don't make enough glutathione because I've had that tested before, and I don't know if the average person does make enough glutathione. I really don't know.
It stimulates the production, and the glutathione it helps aid in the liver detoxify the blood, and obviously carry it out through the waste system of your body. So,
but you hold it for 12 to 15 minutes, and then you go to the bathroom and dump it. Yeah. So I was familiar with that.
You cold brew that coffee, or do you?
No, it's recommended that you bring it to a boil. You bring the coffee to a boil, then you turn it back as soon as it reaches boiling, and simmer it for 10 to 15 minutes, and then let it cool down to a temperature that you can actually, use it. So they don't cold brew it. I think for the plain fact or the plain reason that it's probably not practical if you're doing it on your own, and you're trying to do 4 or 5 enemas a day. I think that would be maybe a little too much. I don't know if they would recommend that outside of that, but it's not cold brewed, at least.
In your situation, that's probably, we need quantum leap, drastic measures. But I guess for the average person who's just doing a liver detox or might be on a juice fast just to lose some weight, maybe every once in a while, because those enemas can make it hard to know when you do have to go or when you don't have to go, or that's what I've been told.
Yep. Yes.
Right.
Fascinating that so they kind of scraped some of the cancer out, and they didn't have to cut out your colon. They cut
they cut out about a foot of it. They cut a foot of length out of my sigmoid. You know, basically the hard band. Sorry, I'm getting eaten by a mosquito. They cut the hard band of my sigmoid, so about 20 centimeters up or so. They took about somewhere around 10 inches of my colon out and reconnected it. So yeah, it's pretty. They did it. They did it. It was minimally invasive because they did the. You know, they punched a couple holes in my belly and did it. They didn't cut me wide open, so the recovery time was a little quicker. But you know, they still did the full line, cut the colon, and reattach it. So it was, yeah, it was pretty high impact.
You know, and there's so much to talk about here, and I want to get to it all because you both have had so many recoveries. But I just would like to know what your diet was like before the cancer and before Gerson.
So you know, I was 42 when I was diagnosed, and
how old are you now?
Yeah, I lived 48. So I was living pretty hard, and I had a big appetite as a youth. I never really was overweight, had high metabolism, ate a lot as a youth, ate a lot of fast food, just different things. And yeah, I was like a garbage can. I would eat just about anything, lots of meat, lots of fatty foods, lots of just whatever.
Lots of chicken wings.
Fast food. Yeah, I worked in a chicken wing joint for years. So and I drank really heavily for many years. Like I was a power drinker, drank lots of beer, and daily, almost daily, or probably almost daily. Yeah, lots of beer. So I had lots of alcohol, and
But you did quit drinking when you was 40.
Yeah, I quit. Yeah, when I started I actually started when I got into the Gerson therapy and had a little bit of epiphany on nutrition and food, and actually had made some transitions to some healthier alternatives, or at least started eating better. But yeah, I still had a long ways to go. But ironically, within a couple of years after that's when I developed the cancer symptoms. I may have had the cancer for a while before it actually became evident. So, but yeah, I abused myself pretty good with food and alcohol, and yeah, some alternative drug use there along the way. And yeah, it was pretty hard living, no doubt about it. And you know, it caught up to me. I never developed diabetes. I didn't have autoimmune problems, but my system broke down, and I developed cancer. So that was where, you know, that was the symptomatic outcome from my treating my body like a garbage can for many years.
So yeah.
So
so going back to when I saw when I said to Todd that like I was going to do the juicing, I knew that the coffee enos was going to have to be a part of that for me, because I already knew that I didn't make enough glutathione. So
you were sick.
I was sick. Like I was really sick. And then when I did get on the scale, so I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, Todd had encouraged me to document it. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'll do it on YouTube. It'll help me to stay accountable. I'll go ahead and document it because you know what? Like it'll help me stick with it. And it'll also be good for somebody else to see the journey.
Absolutely.
So I went ahead and got on that scale. And at that point, and I'm 5'11.5", I'll say that. At that point, I was 238.2 pounds. A little surprised by that well, not really, but I was a little shocked that I was 23 pounds heavier than I was like a few months before. And decided that, okay, I'm just going to do this. And the first few days, I'm not going to lie, the detoxing was a little rough because literally like the night before we started, we had Chick-fil-A.
Yep. Terrible experience.
And then actually, I wasn't even sure for sure I was going to do it on that Sunday. It was right before, it was the weekend before Labor Day. And Todd said to me, he said, I thought you were going to do this. And I said, yeah, but we didn't go to get the produce or whatever. And he's like, if you're going to do it, let's just start it now. And I said, okay, let's start it. So that was on the Sunday before Labor Day weekend. I went ahead and started it because also the kids weren't in school that week. I homeschooled the kids, and I knew that it would give me a week to be able to just, you know, chill out with the detox. I figured it would be pretty hard the first few days, and it was. really bad headache. I was very addicted to coffee, so I was coming off of caffeine. And sorry if you can hear the kids kind of getting a little crazy. Yeah, so coming off of caffeine and just the heavy, nasty foods I was eating, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm just juicing. And it just took a couple of days too for, like, I guess for me to understand what hunger really is, and like that I wasn't, like, I was just craving the cruddy food. I wasn't really hungry. And then also just the headache and all that. But the coffee enemas really helped with that. Really helped to make me feel better. And so I think it was like probably, and then you and I got aches like the same day. We had aches.
Well, you got sick the first day, and then I got sick the second of the feast. And yeah, it was rough. I mean, I don't want to say it was unbearable, but it was, you know, I had
we both had like the same, like, lower back pain,
aching so bad,
leg pain. We were just both like, oh man, I'm just like aching, like you feel like you have the flu.
Consistent dull headache from the caffeine withdrawal and just detoxifying.
But it was like, okay, we're just gonna push on.
That's what they call retracing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we definitely had that.
Right. We all have underlying things that just accumulate, and our mind kind of works in a way with our body where if it can't heal it all the way right away, it kind of just like glosses it over a little bit and then sets it aside.
Yeah. And
it was rough. There's no doubt about it. Day 2 through 5. For me, 2 through 5 was really like it was the worst part of it.
Well, it was very eye-opening to like how much damage we have done to our bodies, that like we were experiencing such a bad detox.
It was a strong motivator because I realized if I feel this way, my body's out of check. So it was motivation to just stick it through, because I knew I eventually was going to, in the not too distant future, feel better.
Yeah.
And that was the honest, you know, by day 6 and 7, it was like an uphill, you know, hit the apex, and then everything was smooth sailing from there. So it was worth it. No doubt about it.
Yeah. And then, I was still passing pretty old stools and stuff. And then I think it was like around day 32 or something, got a nice surprise of parasites.
Yeah. Tell us about the parasites, please.
Yeah.
So one night, he had actually gone to sleep already, but he had made my enema for me, and I was like, what the heck is and this is so gross. But anyway, there was like this, like, it was dead, but it was kind of like this big worm like thing in there, and there was only one. So I was like, well, you know, and I looked it up. I was like researching online, trying to find out what it was. And then it said like you can get it from, you know, sushi or like undercooked pork or whatever. And I was like, I don't even know the last time I've had those foods. Like I was just, you know, trying to like rack my brain, and I woke him up and he was just like, just flush that. That's disgusting. And then he said to me, he was like, you know, it's not like your body is just going to have one. Like, you got to have more. So we better get you juicing like a lot of garlic.
I started juicing garlic because I think that's what initiated it.
Yeah.
I made a juice with really heavy garlic.
Yeah. And
yeah.
But we're talking, you know, 32, 33 days into this, you know, feast, this juice feast is what we call it. But, and I was just like blown away by that. But I was hopeful that that was it. But I will say that I don't even remember like how many. Do you remember like what around day it was?
It was around a week later, I think.
No, it was more than that. It was like
point,
20 days later or something. I just had like a ton of those. Like, so like finally one day that my body just expelled it, and I was horrified. Like I was like, oh my gosh. And so of course I called him in.
How many were there?
I don't even know. Like there were like
lots.
A lot, like 20, 30 maybe.
Oh my. How so?
Yeah, and they weren't as long. Like they weren't as long.
Broken apart.
They were broken. They were dead. It was just so gross that I looked at him and I said, never again. Like I can never go back to eating.
And I did increase the garlic a lot. When I knew she had it, we increased the garlic intake. And from what I've read and from research, garlic's a very strong deterrent from internal or intestinal parasites. We did lots of onion and garlic in there, and
And I
It seemed
read
like
that
the garlic really probably did
do it.
for
But I'll say that, like, Nick, like, they say that 1 out of 6 people have
very common.
parasites. You know, like
Yeah.
a lot of people have them.
Well, we live in a sick society where everybody's eating what's, you know, the wrong food. The wrong.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. And so it
But
says is that,
wait,
you know,
tell
you're
me,
not
like,
going to be able to lose weight from that, you know, because they're,
what?
go ahead.
How big were they? What is? Can you just describe it to it? I'm sorry.
Well, the first one was probably like this big. Okay.
Good.
He was gross.
So,
And then like the rest of them were
Like
probably
that big around.
yeah,
Too.
it was really nasty.
They were big.
And then the rest of them were probably like this, but remember, like at that point, like they were broken too, and I just was literally like
They were like in pieces at that point.
you
I
look
think they started.
the average American, and you know, that is, over, you know, maybe even a little bit overweight, and with some the average health problems that you'd see here in America. You look at 6 of those people a day, and you know one of those people has that inside of them.
absolutely. And I'm thinking, like, you know, yeah, because and it says that you cannot lose weight with those. And so, you know, and then especially then, you know, I was learning about mucoid plaque and like what just like sticks on the colon wall, and you know, and that's just like your body is not taking in nutrients. So it just makes sense, Nick, that like that's why we're ending up with all these autoimmune problems and like, you know, all these issues, because if we can't take in the nutrients properly, how is our body metabolism going to work, and how's our bodies going to work properly? It just doesn't make any sense, you know?
Of course.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so then day 47, because I told my viewers, I said like around the middle, like I said after a month, I want to get my blood taken. I want to see what's going on. I was getting a little concerned about my thyroid. I was like, okay, I haven't tested it. Like, I just want to make sure everything's okay. So I contacted a doctor that's helped me before with when I've been pregnant, whatnot. And she agreed to do like a test of, my liver enzymes were very high too when I started. Because I had which I would have highly recommend. I had all these tests run a week before I started this fast, and I had them check all my levels so that I could compare it. And I do have that comparison on my Instagram. You can see that the comparison of the two. But she ran all the levels, and my levels were incredible. So my liver enzymes were super low. My glucose was low, which was borderline when I started. It was like borderline high, like going into the high range. My cholesterol was significantly better. That was a little high when I started. And of course, I'm not sure how much I had lost at that point. A good amount. But the incredible part to me was that I, for the first time in 34 years, had moved into the hyperthyroid category. So my body, it was extreme. It was like extreme hyper. So she said, did you take your thyroid medicine before you went to go get your blood test? And I said, no, I didn't. And she said, okay, well, I think we need to reduce your medication because, you know, your thyroid is working and you don't need that much medication. And I was super excited. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, for the first time ever, I can start reducing this. Now, she only reduced it a little because she's being conservative with that.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed.
I was disappointed. He was very disappointed. But she agreed to retest me on day 100. So I'm on day 86 right now. And on day 87. I'm on day 87. See, you start to forget. I'm on day 87. On day 100, I'm going to have it retested, and hopefully continue to try to wean off of it, because I don't want to be taking it anymore. Which is, you know, a super goal of mine, to not have to take any medication again.
Have you ever heard about anyone reversing or curing their hypothyroid?
No, especially not in my situation. Not somebody who has been on a medication like that for 34 years. Like, most people are blown away when I tell them that at the age of 9, I had hypothyroidism. Like, they don't understand that. They're like, that doesn't even make any sense. And I was like, yep, since 9 years old. So It is crazy. It's fascinating is what it is. So
Fascinating. I think this is a medical miracle. I mean, I want to show this video to every doctor, you know, and I know, and this is history. This is truly amazing history right here.
it is. It's
awesome.
just, it's totally amazing, and it's very exciting. Yeah, I just
Really?
want to share it with everybody. But it's funny how still people will be like looking at me like I'm a rare situation. I'm like, it's not rare. It's just not a fluke. It's not a coincidence. It's just
Doing a 100-day juice fast, you are, but you know,
right. And people are like, how are you doing that for so long? But here's what I say. It's like literally take it day by day, because you start to see these results, and like the mental clarity, the energy, the depression's gone, like the things that have been holding you back for such a long time. All of a sudden you start to see all these changes. The weight loss is just an extra added bonus. And you start to get excited, and you're like, I don't need to. Like, I am fully cooking for my kids. Like, people are like, how are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I drink my juice. I stay on top of my juice so that I don't let it get out of hand or get starving or anything. But I drink the juice. The juice fills you up, guys, because it's nutrients going straight into your body, and that's what your body is craving, not this empty food. Like, that's the precious part, is like this beautiful produce.
and we
Nutrition. It's not the calories.
And we should make it clear that this is live juice that you guys are drinking, because you're making it yourself. And
it's not ordered from anywhere.
Yeah, we make it ourselves, and we typically drink it almost immediately.
And spinning off of that, Nick, I would like to say that the financial burden that we were so afraid of, you get smart with that. So I was able to find a local produce stand where the guy has organics that actually is sold to the natural food stores, the same supplier, and he purposely makes his produce cheaper because he wants to bring in the customers there. And then on top of it, like, he gives us a discount. And so you can work with people. And then on top of that, then we know that we can get our carrots at such and such a place for a cheaper amount. And then, you know, just pick up the last few things as a special natural food store that we need. But honestly, because we're not buying all that cruddy food, like fast food and this and that, where we were spending so much money doing that, not even thinking about how much, you know, $10 here, $20 there, whatever, like, we've been financially, it's been great. So we haven't noticed.
I don't think it's more. I don't think it's, to be honest, I know the produce, and when you're buying organics, is expensive. I mean, it's naturally more expensive. But the cost of when you start buying the meats and a lot of the the synthetic foods, the boxes don't really have much in them. You're not just getting a box half full of crappy food. And it's overpriced too. So when you start breaking it down and you start being smart about what you're doing and do the cost analysis, you're not spending any more a day, to be honest. It really is probably about the same. And, you know, it's not an excuse not to do it.
How much a week would you say you spend on produce?
We had a couple weeks in a row where we were really tracking it and paying attention. And what was our grocery bill?
I think it was about $150 for the two of us.
150 to 170 a week.
Now we will get like a 25-pound bag of carrots. So like, if we know that like we need to get to payday, we will like do a lot of like green apples and carrots and stuff like that. The cheaper options. But yeah, I mean, like, now that, so Todd stopped juicing after day 61. And
on day 62, I didn't stop completely, but
he's not completely doing the fast anymore.
Yeah.
And I have continued. So our bill has been a little cheaper now because it's just me. It's not, you know, not so much with Todd.
I just drink the juice as they make it.
I want to address what Todd went through when he.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. But do you want to finish up? So just to finish this up. So here I am on day 87.
That I'm Todd, right? For after this, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So actually Nick advised me around day 50, okay, you're halfway done, like you need to start exercising because I hadn't added that into my regimen. And so yeah, it took me like a couple weeks to like really get myself together. Like, what do I want to do? Like, okay, you know, like whatever. But then finally I decided to start the 5K runner program, and I am like now in week 3 of that. So I've been doing that now so we're halfway, so about 2.5 weeks now of that. And so today I weighed myself. I am down 55 pounds. So I'm down to 183.2. I feel great. Yeah, I feel fabulous. I have so much energy. Like it's awesome. And I'm like, not sore, like running, like where I know 55 pounds ago, there's no way I would have been able to do that. Like I was hurting, guys, even like when I would turn over in bed, like an old lady, like it was ridiculous. Like I just felt like an old person.
It's not only the looks and the physicality change. I mean, it's been such a huge transformation appearance-wise, weight loss, some of the physical ailments, the soreness and whatever, but the emotional and the mental and it's been the whole package. It's been the holistic approach. I mean, everything's improved on the whole wide spectrum as the whole person. So it's not just the physical aspect of the juicing. It's really the holistic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, it's just everything. Like, I just feel so good. Like I want to go outside and play with the kids. I want to, you know, get up early, and I want to, you know, get the errands done. And it's not like I'm dreading like, oh, you know, like before I would just be like, I just don't even know if I can do anything today. Like that's how I was feeling. And so I just feel like I got my life back, and I feel better than I have in like, I don't even know, 15 years. I went shopping and I'm a size 12 now. Okay, guys, I know that 183.2 sounds like a lot, but I'm 5'11" and a half. I bought a size 12. Like I was going back into size 20 at the beginning of this. I was in the bigger girl area before. Like now I'm like a normal size. So if that gives you any indication, like it's
been really
incredible.
It's been great. It's been great seeing the transformation.
As you continue, it might even more weight will shed, and you know,
yeah, the goal was to like the end of this 100, so I'm still hopeful that I'll get there. I don't know.
Right on pace, I think.
But like Todd and I have said, like that's the very top of like the range for my height for a BMI, and I'm like, I could easily go lower than that, I'm sure. Like my body will keep losing until it's done, until it's like, okay, that's it, you know.
And we should also realize that this is the American BMI we're talking about, and if
You're
you
right,
look at
Nick.
Like the French BMI, it's much different than America. You know, they have a different standard.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
It's the truth.
That
was designed for a sick society, you know. But yeah,
right.
This is incredible. So did you get to measure your water percentage at all?
No, I know you suggested that at some point, and no, I never
got the scale for it. We used to have one, and I don't know what happened to it. The kids broke it or whatever, but
I wish I had done that. Yeah.
But it's not too late. You can still find out. I mean, we still can get it and figure it out. I mean, we won't know the change, but
we won't know the change.
But we'll know she's where she should be.
Yeah.
And Todd, what was your weight loss? What did that look like?
Yeah, I didn't officially weigh myself right at the beginning. I don't ask me why I didn't, but I was probably I weighed not too long before that, and I was about 185, 186. I think, and I could tell by the way my clothes were fitting, I was probably in the upper 180s. So I was about 186 to start, and I went down to 146 at my lowest point, 146.8. So I lost almost 40 pounds in 61 days, and I was pretty thin. And that's what, you know, I think that's what, when I plateaued out to bottomed out, the last 5 or 6 days of my juicing, I became super hungry, and I realized I wasn't getting enough juice in.
He wasn't juicing as much as what.
And but the reason my hunger kicked in is I think because my fat store is depleted, and when my fat store is completely depleted, my hunger, my body started saying you need to take more in because we've got nothing else to use as backup fuel. So unfortunately, the amount that I was juicing in our schedule, I caved and started eating, thinking I was going to be okay. And
he really let the hunger get a hold of himself. And so, like,
I was like 5 days in, I was starving. I felt like I was starving.
The night that he gave in, he had just made a nice vegan chili for the kids. And I thought that he was gonna like eat like some fruit.
Yeah, I messed up.
And he just like, I turned around and he's just like gorging himself on like this chili, and I'm like, ooh,
don't do that.
And guacamole, and I'm going, uh-oh, like this is not going to be good. And yeah.
What was in that?
Yeah, ironically. What's that?
What was in that chili? What was it comprised of?
It was beans, tomatoes, you know, some of the pepper seasonings, jalapenos, onion. I mean, it was good, but it also had some. It had some of the. I think I used canned. You know, obviously had the canned beans in it. They were pre-cooked beans. I didn't use the.
So yeah, so no salt, all that salt.
So you know, some of those canned products that were loaded with sodium, and I think that was what really made me pay some of the price. And we can go into, you know, sort of the downward spiral.
Yeah,
that
about
transpired.
And yeah, so that was rough. So within like how many days was it that you started experiencing the swelling?
So yeah, still eating, you know, vegan, wasn't raw, even though I was eating some raw foods. I'm still drinking some of the juices as I was making them for Tricia. I was also eating cooked food, vegan, no oils or stuff.
I noticed you had made a fried, correct me if I'm wrong, a fried veggie burger.
Yes, pan seared in coconut oil. You're right.
Yeah, two.
That might have been. You know what?
And
come to think about it,
and buns.
it might have been the. Could have been the following day. Might have been the following day or the 2 days after that. Is when I woke up and I noticed that my ankles and my skin was itching really bad around my ankles.
And he's never had any kind of swelling issues.
Never, ever had that issue. And I didn't think too much about the itching. And then I woke up the next morning, and the itching was still there. And by the middle part of the day, I realized I looked down and my feet and ankles were actually hurting, and the tops of my feet were sore. So I pulled my shoe open and realized that I looked like my ankles were gigantic. I mean, they were gigantic. I was like, looked like they were going to explode at one point. And I was like, holy crap, I'm retaining water so horribly bad all of a sudden. And yeah, my body, you know, the chemical change and taking the salt and it sent my body into a spin, and I still haven't fully recovered. And
I think it could be more the salt too.
I think it was the salt, and you know, it could be there's a combination of things going on that it could be a result of, but it's definitely the change in the chemical intake of my food and the salt intake, I'm sure, is playing into it. And the fact that during my cancer surgery, obviously that was in my lower pelvic region where they removed the area of my colon. Well, they didn't just remove my colon, they removed 25 lymph nodes from that spot too. And that was one of my biggest concerns pre-surgery. And that was what I was most concerned about. I was trying to tell the surgeon, I was like, don't take anything that you don't have to take out.
And he said, like, I'm not going to purposely try, but to be honest with you, as I take that portion of your colon out, it will just come with it.
He's like,
so there's no way to not take those lymph nodes, which is, you know.
So they send all that stuff off to pathology, then they get back in. I tested free and clear of any progressed stage cancer, but pathology reports said 25 lymph nodes tested free and clear of any signs of cancer. So I had 25 lymph nodes removed basically at the top of my left leg. And ironically, my left leg is the one that's swelling much more than my right leg. So I think it's a lymphedema or edema type symptom that may be being exacerbated. I still think I probably would have experienced some symptom similar to that, but I think it might be exacerbated by the fact that I'm missing a concentrated area of lymph nodes at the, you know, pretty close to the top area of my legs. So
I'd say that's
it could be coming into play.
That sounds like it could be the reason, because we know that the lymphatic system is the body's bathroom. It's where the waste matter is supposed to go. And if, you know, you've kind of reacclimated your body to, or I should say you reset your feedback system. So, you know, you had been putting in in a way, a species-specific diet in a more concentrated form, but all of a sudden you go back to this way of eating that your body is now not used to, and it's also, you know, not what we're really designed for. So it's almost like if you quit smoking for 20 or 30 years and you go back and you try and have a cigarette, you're gonna cough, right? So maybe it's something.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd say
True.
it's almost like it's a blessing in a way. It really shows you that your feedback system is working now. Unfortunately, the lymph is not there to drain the waste matter as easily. But so, what do you think you're gonna do now with the diet and
Well,
moving forward?
back on the bandwagon a little bit more, and my goal is immediately in the near term, and then probably get more congruent with Tricia as she starts to come off her juice feast.
So my goal is to immediately do the John Rose protocol to like transition to raw vegan. So I am going to do like actually, Nick, what you've done. So I'm going to do that protocol, which is about 6 days out. And then just go to raw vegan. Especially like after watching his experience, I'm like, there's no way that I want to go back to that. So no, I don't want to
say that. I think that it could become more than 6 days. And
right, you were saying that.
He does say in some of his other videos that about breaking the fast that some people need to stay on the soaked prunes for more than just the first day. And some people get to the juicy fruit. They might need to actually just continue with just juicy fruit and juicing for quite a number of days before they might feel ready to introduce the heavier foods. Yeah. So, you know, it's not all, it could be different, you know, and you might get lucky where the transition is easy. And I don't know from experience yet. I tried to break at day 51 and I wasn't able to eat all of the prunes. I had to do the rest of the day. Well, you're supposed to anyway, but I had to save the rest of them for the next day. And even then it was like, and then I tried to do some, you know, a little bit of, I ate a few pieces of watermelon that day and my mind was like, nope, you're going right back to the juice. So, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, so I mean, here I've been thinking 6 days. It might be
longer.
It might be longer. Yeah, because I really don't know how my body is going to react. I have no earthly idea what's going to happen. That's why I said in one of my videos, I'm like, I feel like a guinea pig here because really like my only experience is knowing other people doing this are from like meeting you online. Like I don't know anybody in my life that has done this before. And I feel like everyone is like just waiting to see what's going to happen. So I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to undo anything any progress I've made. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you certainly made incredible progress, both of you, and
thank you.
Have done some incredible healing. You're you're an inspiration for me for sure, and a lot of people. And I think it's so amazing. You guys have 7 kids, right? And think about the impact this has had on them to see that transition. Now you homeschool them, and by the way, I commend you for that. I really do. I think I have some pretty strong opinions about the public government indoctrination centers that they have set up here in this country. And I find that so great that you're doing that. But you're also a tutor, right, for work?
Right. So I teach one math class at an online school, Queen of Heaven Academy, to 2 of our sons do online school with. And I do that so that I get 2 free tuitions. So every class you teach, you get 2 free tuitions. So I teach one Algebra 2 class, and then I private tutor math as well, online and live. So yeah, so that's what I do and then I homeschool 2 of them. Don't do online schools. I fully homeschool them. And then I got 2 little ones, and then I got 1 in college. So I successfully got 1 by homeschool to college, and he's doing really well. So,
Well,
yeah, as I feel confident, but it is. I mean, like there's been people who have said like, I can't do it because I don't have time, and it kind of like makes me chuckle because I'm like, if you had any clue what our house looked like,
How much time you actually have. You find out how much you actually have. And
when you know what I'm saying, Nick. Like when you really want something, you're gonna make it a part of your, like you're gonna do it. Like when you really want something, you're gonna do it, no matter what your situation is, right?
absolutely.
So
I've found
and
that
you've been equally, let me tell you, you've been a big inspiration for us as well. Like when you reached out to me, I was like, okay, this is cool. And then it's like, you have so much knowledge that we didn't have, and you've really guided us as well. So I just want to say thanks to you too.
well, yeah, there was things that I was completely impervious to,
Yeah.
and I wish, I knew about John Rose and she talked about it, but I was sort of hearing something, but I didn't. And then, I researched the John Rose coming down off the juicing protocol after the fact.
After the fact.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that wasn't very smart. Even though I knew I probably should have transitioned that quickly. I
just think that he like gets overconfident. Like he doesn't have this, even though he's had cancer, like he doesn't have like all the ailments that all the autoimmune issues that I have. So I appear to be much more unhealthy, I'm overweight, whatever. So I think he's thinking like, oh, that's what you need to do, but he wasn't really thinking like, oh, that's what everybody needs to do.
An arrogant constitution.
there's the oneness of disease and the uniqueness of disease, and
right.
of course how it manifests, and then there's the science to healing and the art of healing, but
right.
I don't really know anyone at least past the age of 20 who, if they've been eating anywhere near the standard American diet, wouldn't benefit from this protocol. Now,
I know, I feel the same way.
Todd, what do you're an IT guy. What do you do?
I'm sorry, in IT, I sit around at a desk all day and I basically develop websites, and I sit a lot, which is a bummer, but so that's a struggle in itself because
you're out of the house, right? Doing the work. Yeah.
Currently I'm out of the house for, I come home at lunch every day and do the juicing with Tricia, but I'm gone all morning and then I'm gone all afternoon. So that's hopefully going to change in the not too distant future, but that's the way it is for now.
We'd like to eventually be remote because we'd like to travel now that we have the travel trailer. Like we actually like want to travel and like road school the kids. So hopefully at some point we'll be able to do that. That's what we'd like to do. Yeah.
We're going to be some well-rounded, educated children. I just wanted to, get that information on the table because, like we were just saying, I want it to be super clear to everyone. Everybody has the time and the power to do this. Well, most of us do. Most of us do.
Yeah.
And you guys are a great example of that. So,
Thank you. And it has been nice having the spousal support because I do sympathize with people who say that like, well, my spouse isn't on board and thinks that's like really horrible. Like that, I think would be just that would add an extra level of difficulty if you don't have that support. But sometimes, in marriage, like if the one person says, I'm going to just do it, and then the other one is seeing those results, that can change their mind as well.
Gotta be strong.
Sometimes you just have to just say, okay, I'm just going to do it anyway.
Gotta be strong. But the one thing about it is, even though I'm gone all day, I do highly recommend. In hindsight, this was something that I recommend to even myself, is that you come up with a juicing schedule and a juicing plan, and figure out when is that time that you can do the juicing, because we both know that it's very time consuming and requires some effort. And my recommendation is plan your shopping and plan your juice times where you can do that bulk juicing even if it's just for one day. I think what would work best for us if one of us was to do the juicing every night and juice all the juice for the next following day, that would probably work best for our lives.
Yeah.
But do whatever works for you, but just come up with that plan ahead, and then come up with what works. And if it's not working, figure out what adjustments you make, but You know,
And don't ever leave the house without juice with you. Like I always carry a
even if you
cooler.
think you're
I
just
always
going to be
carry a
gone for a
cooler
little bit.
because, you know, it's happened to me before where I got stuck and then you're starting to freak because you're just like, I don't have anything. And now I'm like, my hunger's starting to set in. So don't ever make that mistake.
Yeah, I've made that mistake. It's not fun.
It's not fun. And then your head's going like, okay, oh my goodness. Like I'm starting to feel like weird. And yeah, so make sure you stay on top of that.
There, a little hack for that though is if you are anywhere near a Whole Foods, you can go get a packet, or any health store would have this too, a packet or a jar of chlorella powder.
Okay, right.
The tablets, and you can, if they're the tablets, you can chew them down into powder in your mouth and get, I mean, you can either stop at CVS and get coconut water, or you can get some dead juice, some pasteurized juice somewhere, and the chlorella will add some of the amino acids that you would be missing otherwise. So
that's a good tip.
Yeah, that has saved me on some days, but it's not ideal, you know.
Ideal, right, exactly.
So let's just do a quick recap here. So you guys lost a ton of weight. Tricia, you lost like over 50 pounds so far. You're on day 85 or 80. Yeah,
87. 87. I've lost 55. Yeah.
And Todd lost over 40 pounds.
About 40 pounds, yep.
Yeah, and so you have gotten rid of some autoimmune diseases, right? That you were diagnosed with. You, it seems like you may have reversed or cured your hypothyroid, and more time will tell as they decide to take you off your medication. Now, of course, they want to wean you off. I think it would be irresponsible for them to say, "Oh, yeah, stop." You know, if you've been taking your whole life, your body might go into shock. Or I would imagine that that's the concern. But I assume that if your numbers are good, there's no reason that they're going to want to keep you on that. And this, like I said, this is medical miracle history in the making kind of stuff. So, and then you got rid of a massive amount of parasites, only like about a third of the way through this, which most people don't even realize.
Well, no, it actually, like, if you think about it, Nick, it was like day 32, 33 that I had passed the first one. And then the rest of them didn't come for like another 20 days or so after that. So like, yeah. So we're talking process, like well into this before that happened.
Yeah, I do recommend the garlic.
So that's like an important, that's important about the timing, because some people think, okay, I'll just do 30 days and that'll be good for me. But you never know what's on the other side of that, of that 30-day mark or that 50-day mark. And this is why they say at least 3 months is really important, especially if you're someone who's over 35, 40 years old, because you've allowed a lot of dietary mistakes to accumulate. So, I strongly encourage people, go the distance, go the distance. And I know that even after I tried to break the fast and then I went right back on the juices, I still noticed more changes occurring in me. I still noticed my water percentage going up, the body fat dropping, and it's still a lot of changes. And I'm a completely different constitution than someone in your situation. So, and Todd, do you feel, and then let's talk about digestion a little bit, because I really want to address Todd, because you had the surgery, and I want to know what your digestion had been like after the surgery, or before, after, and then compared to now.
Yeah, my digestion tract prior to being sick for many years was frequent and not solid a lot of times, and it was just the way things sort of were. And then I developed blood on my stool, which was a symptom of the problem, and had the surgery, and healed some, and then that actually reduced the frequency a little bit, but my diet was still not great. So it was still not always the best consistency, but it was better than what it was. But when I was doing the juicing prior to, I don't remember what part of the juicing, but we weren't straining most of the juices, and they were a little pulpy, and it wasn't bothering me, but it was bothering Tricia, and I realized that we were still getting a ton of fiber, and we were still having frequent, we were still, and that was a big part of the puzzle. We were still taking in solid food per se, and then when we reduced that
it's really
out,
important to strain.
so definitely get a decent strainer and strain that pulp out, so you can really free your digestive system from having to try to take in that solid.
Tell them about your hemorrhoids.
Yeah, I actually, for post surgery about 2 years, it's been over 2 years ago now. I'm not sure the exact date, but I developed an itching issue, and don't know what the onset of it was, but because of the itching, it was causing me to wipe more, and the wiping harder or wiping more thoroughly exacerbated the problem, and it caused me actually think, because of the intensity and the frequency of the wiping, I caused some hemorrhoidal problem. And the more, it's a catch-22, the more that you do it, the worse it itches, and you just sort of feeds on itself. So I went around and around with GI every time I'd get follow-ups for, checking about for cancer. I had to have a colonoscopy for follow-ups. I would always bring the issue to the surface, and the GI is like, yeah, it's not, they're not bad, don't worry about it. I'll tell you what, it was driving me crazy. I mean, so, and I had that all the way up into the start of the juice feast, and it was 30, 40, probably about 40 days plus in, the issue resolved.
Finally went away.
The itching, the intensity.
That has been my experience as well. I had the same exact problem, and
wow.
I'd say I really just actually thought about it today, that there hasn't been, I haven't seen any blood in the past few days. Maybe it's been 10, and there really hasn't been, much itching or any issue. And this, once again, another thing to really see what's on the other side of that threshold, all the healing that can be done. Now, but just to go back to your digestion, so that's fascinating, and that's really important to note. But and I would say that's one of the things that led me to the raw diet, is particularly because it's the only thing that didn't make me itch and bleed so much,
Wow.
So, and it has a lot to do probably with the soluble fiber. Now, I mean, hemorrhoids are basically, it's a blowout. It's like a herniated artery or vein.
Yep.
And that's from, this hypercolonic tension that, causes us to bear down. And also, the reduced blood flow from what we're eating, everything backs up. Everything backs up, or the higher blood pressure, I should say. But yeah, so your digestion after the surgery, what was that like? What was the recovery like for what you could eat? How did you feel?
It's crazy. They completely sever the colon, completely take out an area of it, and they reconnect it with staples. And within 24 hours, they give you chicken and broccoli and solid foods and make you start eating. And yeah, they immediately encourage you to start eating. And I'm not thinking, really, I'm going to eat chicken?
So
I was like, really? But ironically, I didn't really notice. I was thinking, is it going to cause me to bleed? Is it going to cause it to rip apart? And there's like, no, it'll be fine. And then, they basically put it back on the solid food diet, and it sort of went back to business as usual. I didn't really experience any major malfeasances from eating again, per se. And I was amazed. I was like, how do you eat again within 24 hours and have bulk food pass through, something that's completely severed and reattached without causing it to to damage repaired, but that's how they do it. To this day, I asked the surgeon, I was like, what did you use? Like, how'd you connect it? Did you use like catgut tissue or something that dissolves? He's like, nope, stainless steel staples. You'll have them forever. I was like, that's great. So I've got little micro, the little ringlets in my colon that keep it, that, are basically probably embedded in the colon wall, which, isn't something that I'm crazy about. I'll be honest with you. Having a foreign metal, even though it's stainless steel or whatever it is, titanium or whatever, embedded into my digestive tract, is not something that makes me crazy, but that was the consequence of the decision that I made and the ill choices that I lived through. And, that's just the way things are. So all I can do.
Bowels, have they been the same?
They've been, they've been pretty normal. I mean, but I think it's when I'm eating, food that's not healthy. So, when I get to the raw diet, when Tricia and I get back on the same page with more raw foods and eating, real food and live food, I'll be interested to see how regulated or what the pattern will be per se, and maybe I'll have a really much better understanding of what it's actually supposed to be like. I hope so. Time will tell, and having Tricia.
Everything is moving smoothly now, and no problems. Okay.
No, great. you really don't notice anything different per se. At least I did.
Since the juice fast, is it the same?
With the juice fast now, obviously early in the juice feast, it was still moving because we were taking in so much of the fiber, and then it minimized significantly. And then when I started eating again, it sort of went right back to pretty close, not quite to where it was before the feast, but going a few times a day, and it seems to be normal. It seems to be solid and normal compared to what normal is. So I really can't complain. My only concern is that the hemorrhoid problem will return if you're going, as frequently as I am, which is two times, maybe sometimes 3 times a day.
And so obviously, are you eating any processed food right now, or what's your diet look like at this point?
I've been eating pretty much what the kids have been eating for the most part. Mostly lots of beans and rice, and some vegetable toppings, some vegetables. I drink occasional juice when I make it for Tricia, but definitely eating too much cooked food and not feeling too good about it. Yeah, I eat a lot of fruit. I'm a banana-holic. I mean, if there's a bunch or 2 bananas, or like I'll eat 2 bunches of bananas in a day.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
I love them.
You can always double down on those, and any fruit, any fruit that you want that's ripe that you can get a hold of. You can't have too much of it.
But I'm real fond of making like gigantic salads with leafy greens and just fresh cut vegetables, and with apple cider vinegar based dressing. I have no oils, and I've been using avocado pureed with apple cider vinegar and seasonings and garlic for topping, and I absolutely love that. And a lot of I like tomato, cucumber, onion, avocado, cilantro with apple cider vinegar dumped on top of it and mixed up real well. And yeah, I could eat stuff like that.
And often, if we think we might make a big salad, but often it's not actually big enough. So you can always try eating almost twice as much salad if you want to experiment with the raw stuff. So I
ate a mixing bowl full of salad. The one.
Sorry, you get the signal was cutting out there for a minute.
Yeah, you dropped off for 1 second. What was the last thing you said?
I was saying that you can really double your intake of salad when you're doing and
absolutely
experiment with that, and the same thing with the fruit. Always you know, don't be afraid to experiment with eating twice as much fruit as you normally would. You know, in one sitting, you know, to see if that satiates you enough to avoid the cravings for the cooked food. But you also have you started a website, right, that's dedicated to spreading knowledge about juice fasting and raw food. It's liquidcarrot.com.
Yes, it is, and I'm really excited about it. I've been tooling around with this idea for I think about 8 years now, and the reason I never pulled the trigger on it for all this time, I realized, is because my lifestyle wasn't. I was really an advocate of that lifestyle and gravitating toward it, but I was never living it. I wasn't congruent, and it made me feel like a hypocrite to put a website out, and you know, advocating raw food and juicing when I wasn't living that fully. I just gone through periods of it. So this last juice feast really pushed me over the top. And to be honest, you know, I'm really excited about getting it ramped up because I think it's going to be also a thing to keep me accountable and also really encourage experimentation in raw food and you know, consuming raw food. So yeah, really excited about it. I put the design together, published it. I've got a few more ideas, and I've gotten a lot of feedback on people that are juicing or starting to juice or looking to juice or having trouble staying on the juicing train or asking for help coaching. So probably going to, at some point in the really near future, get together with you and come up with some actual programs that I'm going to put together to, you know, to offer to people coaching and be a win-win, you know, get a little bit of a kickback of something that maybe can help fund the lifestyle a little more readily. So really excited about it.
Really excited to help other people.
Really excited to help other people and have that sort of take the place of being at the office all day, you know, doing something that's not really in line with what I want to be doing.
Your passion.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about it. So
this old juice fast diet kind of really opens up the door to
it's incredible.
that giving, you know, and I mean, you know, I think you guys have probably always been generous people, but I noticed for myself, I always want to be the best me that I can when I'm being 100% raw, and I want to be, you know, the most generous and the most honest, more than I've been in the past, and it really pushes me to want to work on myself more, you know. So I don't know, you know, there's all kinds of theories for that. John Rose says it's the biophotons. Some people say, oh no, you're getting more antioxidants, more nutrients, so you feel better and makes you want to, you know, be better. And you know, there's all kinds of theories for it, but either at the end of the day, it's whatever it is, it's great, you know.
It is great.
And Tricia, so your digestion is how is that? Well, I know you're actually still on the fast. I forgot, but how?
I'm still on the fast, and to be honest, like my digestive system has never been great. That's been another issue that I've had, but I have been doing those coffee enemas, so it's kind of masked for me to know where my body is at. I should say that I started off doing them like every day, and then it went to like every other day, and then now I'm kind of at like 2 times a week. So I'm not going. I've only gone like 1 time without an enema. So it's usually just the enemas but I'm doing them so frequently that honestly, I don't know. And so that's another thing that's going to be a trigger. Like it's going to be very interesting to see when I do the protocol out, because I don't plan to do the coffee enemas then, like how my body will react. And that's going to be another clue, Nick, whether I need to do it longer than 6 days or not, if the protocol out, because I do need to wake my digestive system back up again.
Yeah.
Right.
So stay tuned for that information. I'll definitely keep you guys.
Yeah.
John Rose does say it should take about a quarter of the time to reacclimate.
Okay.
A quarter of how long you juice fasted for.
Okay.
Though you know, you could probably do it in 12 days if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. It's like we'll see what happens. Like
I'm really hoping we can do a follow-up after you
Absolutely.
the 100-day mark.
Yeah.
Either while you're breaking the fast or after, or maybe both, and you know, so the viewers can catch more of your progress. And
Absolutely.
I'll be putting the link to your YouTube channel in the description.
Cool.
And also liquidcarrot.com. So, and everyone should check you guys out on Instagram.
Yes. So I'm at Momma Juicing, and it's MOMMA Juicing on Instagram, Twitter account, and you're Liquid Carrot on both.
Yeah, I've got Liquid Carrot on both, and that's probably going to be my one that I use for the voicing for the juice and the raw food, and promoting. And I definitely have a lot of work to market and promote the website. I'm really excited about it. I want to build it. I want people to use it. I don't want to just build it and people not see it. So I'll definitely be hustling to try to get people's eyes on it. And my goal is to make it, you know, a really valuable resource for the community, and not just one-sided. I want it, you know, it's really a passionate issue for me. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping people like it.
Yeah.
Well, I already love the idea, and I'm a huge fan of what you guys are doing, and you guys are powerful. I mean, this is the most powerful information in the world, in my opinion. I'm so excited to see where it takes us. So, and
Awesome.
yeah, you guys have kids. It's late. we should wrap.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, I hope they don't hear, like, our oldest son is actually home right now because of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's been a little rowdy in there.
Helping us out a little bit here, but we got to relieve him now. So.
Well, thank you so much
Thanks for having us, Nick. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love this, and I'm looking forward to the future. So,
awesome.
All right, Tricia and Todd Baker, 100-day juice fasting journey. Check her out on YouTube at Juicing Momma and Instagram at Momma Juicing. And Todd Baker is also on Instagram, and check out his website, liquidcarrot.com. And those links will be in the description box down below. And as always, join the rebellion.
Juice on.
Juice on. Bye-bye.